threatening to withhold funding. The governor of Pennsylvania, Tom Wolf, indeed is threatening to hold back money, coronavirus aid from counties that refuse to listen to shutdown orders. And here now is the judge to talk about this, Andrew Napolitano, Fox News senior judicial analyst. And I guess, it's a pretty simple legal question to start off. He's threatening to withhold the money. Can he do that?
Well, good afternoon, Connell. I don't know if he can do it because we're really in virginal territory. We start with the proposition that his shutdown orders are not orders. They are guidelines because they were not enacted by the Pennsylvania legislature. They were written by the governor, and they change from time to time as more medical data comes into the governor's office or as new experts are consulted by the governor. But the idea of threatening people because of what the politicians in their counties are doing, here's the down and dirty. 3 county sheriffs in Pennsylvania, in rural counties, said, I don't have the resources to have my deputies enforce these stay-at-home orders, these lockdown orders, these shutdown orders, whatever you want to call them, so I'm not going to do it. You want to enforce these, Governor, send your own people in. Instead of sending his own people, and he threatened and said, well, then we're not going to give aid to the county. I mean, that is punishing the people that live in the county because of what one public official has decided to do. Then he ratcheted it up and said, and by the way, I'm going to close down all the liquor stores in your county. Well, the liquor stores in Pennsylvania are owned by the government, and they are considered, are you ready for this, an essential activity under Governor Wolf's orders.
Well,
so why would he punish the people by not letting them buy alcohol? I mean, the answer to this is political. Right. The governor is taking this personally, and he's acting like a child.
Well, it's Pennsylvania, and it's a presidential election year, so there's no surprise in some ways that politics has entered the equation. We've had these conversations, Judge, about kind of jurisdiction, who's allowed to do what, and then what are they kind of allowed to do. So say there's this district attorney, I believe, out in the Pittsburgh area. It's not in the city of Pittsburgh. We're right outside of Pittsburgh somewhere. It says he wouldn't prosecute a business opener for reopening. So the business owner says, I want to reopen, but supposedly it's against the guidelines or the suggestion, and this DA says, I'm not going after the guy. So what are could the governor then make that a state prosecution, or is the only option to throw something out like, hey, we're not going to, we'll withhold your funding? Is that why this is happening?
That is a terrific question, and it really depends on what state you're in. If it were New Jersey, where I happen to be now, the attorney general could commence the prosecution. But in Pennsylvania, the county prosecutors are more independent, and they cannot be superseded by the attorney general unless they commit a crime themselves, or show that they're utterly incompetent. But making a judgment call like, I have more important things to do, we have limited resources here, we can't spend the time prosecuting a hair salon owner because she stayed open to pay her children, to feed her children. That's the Dallas case. The governor of Pennsylvania and the attorney general of Pennsylvania could not intercede in that case. So how this ends, I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of litigation to try and resolve who caused me to lose money, who caused me to lose my customers.
Right.
And
that's all after. I mean,
before it's resolved.
Right. I mean, in the meantime, we have to get through the health crisis we're in, and all that, I guess, is down the line somewhere. Okay, Judge, what a mess. Good to see you as always. Thank you, sir. Melissa.